Hello again, I am Blunty. We're doing a PC build today, and it's going to be Linux. I know that's an Eevee. I don't have a stuffed penguin, or a tux, if you will, the official mascot of Linux to hold aloft, so Eevee. As my most loyal viewers will already know, and a whole bunch of randos who just happened to stumble across the video, including a whole bunch of Linux nerds. Hi Linux nerds, how you doing today? Hope you're well. Used the command line lately? Yeah, you have. I'm dipping my toe into the world of Linux gaming once more to see if it's finally up to the task of being a dutiful replacement for a Windows gaming machine, because Windows we tolerate, we don't love. So the machine I built for that series of videos was just a sort of very low-level hardware, just because I had it handy and pre-built and it wasn't doing anything important, so I could afford to rip out Windows and chuck Linux in there and have a poke. I was so impressed with what happened, and you can watch those videos if you like to find out more about that, but I was so impressed with where Linux stood at the moment, I decided it was probably time to build a proper gaming rig with proper gaming, serious gaming level hardware. So that's what we're doing today. We are building a serious face, proper PC Master Race style gaming PC, but for Linux. And I've got a whole pile of bits and pieces and parts sitting here from various older builds and old reviews or promotional stuff and things. But this build, that was the heatsink hitting the table there, so I'm going to have to... What I was trying to say is, while the build itself isn't sponsored, it is sponsored, actually, because you guys are going to help sponsor it, basically. I know I already have the bits, but any money that is donated towards the cause goes to helping me pay my rent, because I got screwed over by a client who I did some external work for, and I haven't been able to get them to pay their bill yet, so I'm getting kind of desperate. So I thought, in my desperation, I would open my heart up to the generosity of you people. So, as we live stream this PC build over on twitch.tv/bluntnate, in a couple of hours after this video goes live, the specific time will be in the down below area, along with time zone conversion for the most common time zones out there. So come along to the live build, and anyone who donates gets their name added to a special wallpaper I'm going to make for this particular build. So anytime I use it in a video, your name's going to be there on the wallpaper. And also I'll put your name in the credits of any video, any follow-up video we do, either with, about, or for this particular Linux gaming build. And I am planning on doing a few of them, because this is, of course, a follow-on from the videos I put up last week, where I built a little mini Linux gaming PC, which is this little guy right here, a little mini ITX one with a APU. But this time, we're doing it big boys style. And aside from that, you guys are actually playing a huge part in the choices around the rest of this build as well. I'm using Manjaro Linux distribution thingamabob doodler, because that was by far and away the most commonly and widely recommended Linux distro after I tried Pop OS on the little mini ITX build with the APU we put in there. And a lot of you said, well, you should try Manjaro instead. It works even better with gaming, so that's what we're going to do. So you guys have picked the distro, you guys are sponsoring it, you guys are picking the graphics card as well. Behind me there, I've got the AMD Radeon RX 5700. I've also got on this side the NVIDIA GeForce 2600, the RTX 2600. Not the Super, just the standard one. They never sent me a Super to test out, so either one of those cards, they're fairly evenly matched, but either one of those cards, you guys are going to make the choice for me. Just leave a message in the down below, and by the time we're done streaming, by the time we're done building, or live streaming the build, and when we, it's time to decide which GPU to slot in there, I'll pop back to this video and have a look through and sort of count up the results and such, and see what your recommendation is, and we're going to go with that. The trade-off is, I mean, performance-wise, they're close enough for the purposes of testing out proper Linux gaming with properly powerful hardware. AMD play much nicer with the free and open source concepts of Linux, where NVIDIA don't. But their driver blob, which is all closed off and secretive and closed source and not anything even close to free and open source. But apparently, because they just handle all that themselves in their little closed cage, it works better. Or has a better feature set than AMD. Haven't looked into it that closely, but that was a common recommendation as well. I'll talk more about the specific componentry we're going to be using during the live build itself, but I've got a pretty serious motherboard, I've got a pretty serious CPU, we've got a pretty serious cooler, I've got some very fast memory and a bunch of it, and I'm even putting in 2 blindingly fast M.2 SSDs that I had left over from a promotional thing I did with WD a little while back. And there's even a 4 terabyte mass storage device, which I don't remember when or why I got this particular drive, but it's been sitting in its bag in a drawer waiting for me to use it, so we're going to do that. I look forward to seeing you over on the live stream. Whether or not you can be directly generous, your presence and company and chat is still more than welcome and more than appreciated. It's one of the reasons I like doing live PC builds, because we get to talk a lot about off-topic stuff and also about hardware and build techniques and choices of componentry and why and all that sort of stuff. So if you've ever wanted to ask me a question about that kind of stuff, now's the time for that as well. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty. See you on the live stream, and I'll catch you next time.